all, I hope you are having a fabulous day. My name is Reggie and today I'll be sharing with you my favorite media of 2016. This video will include my favorite plays, music, video games, movies, and TV of 2016. So let's just get on into it. I'm gonna start with video games because I only have one. I don't really play video games all that often or basically ever. This Halloween, Manny and I played Until Dawn together, and it is one of those interactive choice-based games that was incredibly fun. The story is great and it is just a thrilling, fun ride to the end. Next, let's move on to plays. I have 4 plays that I saw and adored this year. Coming in at number 4 is Arthur Miller's A View from the Bridge. I saw a National Theater live showing of this at a movie theater, and this is the one that won Tony for Best Play. It was just really good. Arthur Miller is not my favorite playwright. This was just a really wonderful, high-level production, and I really enjoyed the acting, and it was just very well done. Coming in at number 3 is Sleep No More, which is an interactive retelling of Shakespeare's Macbeth set in a warehouse. So you basically go from room to room. The characters are going from room to room, and it's silent, and they dance around and run around, and it's just so much fun. You can choose to stay in one room and see the people who come through. You can choose to follow one character and follow them as they bust out of one room into another. You can just kind of hop around and do whatever you want, and it's really fun. This is in New York City, and I saw it when I went in March, and it's just phenomenal. Coming in at number 2 is Angels in America. I saw Angels in America Part 1, Millennium Approaches, and it was just so wonderful. This play starts off in 1985 and it follows a lot of different characters going through a lot of different things, but it's basically focusing on the AIDS epidemic. It is a 2-part play. I only did get to see part 1. I am planning on reading part 1 and part 2 this year because I just loved it so much. You guys know I don't read plays. I believe they are there to be viewed and not read. But when I saw this, I was just really fascinated by the staging, and I just wanted to see the staging and the directions that were written there. And coming in at number 1, no surprise to anybody, is Hamilton, an American musical. I saw this in March in New York City with the original cast, including Jonathan Groff, and it was just an amazing experience. I have a video all about my experience, so if you're interested in that, I'll link it in the eye. Now let's talk about my favorite music. I do have 6 albums I'd like to talk about. The first is a Pentatonix Christmas. It was just a fabulous Christmas album. I love Pentatonix. I did get to see them this year. Coming in at number 5 is Leslie Odom Jr.'s self-titled album. It is mostly jazzy, and I just love it. Leslie Odom Jr. has the voice of an angel, and this album really emphasizes that. Coming in at number 4 is Lindsey Stirling's Brave Enough. Lindsey Stirling is someone I've loved for years, and her album Brave Enough dropped this year, and I just absolutely loved it. This was something I've been writing to recently, and it's just perfect for writing to. Coming in at number 3 is One Republic. Oh my, One Republic is my favorite band, so of course when their new album dropped, I just had to get my hands on it. Coming at number 2 is the Hamilton cast recording. I am, like most of the world, have been obsessed with this, only to be outdone by my number 1 album, which is the Hamilton mixtape. I just think this is such a enormously important and beautiful piece of art. Next up, let's talk about my favorite TV shows. I have 5 I'd like to talk about, though these are not my favorite TV shows of all time. So these are definitely favorites that would be on that list, but only became favorites recently. So coming in at number 5 is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. This is an anime about a couple of brothers who are alchemists, and it is just a way better story than I ever anticipated. It is so incredibly good, well thought out, well constructed. It is incredible. My heart was so invested in this story so early on. Coming in at number 4 is Orange is the New Black. This is a Netflix original TV show that I have been watching since it first came out, but this is the year it made my favorites list. It's one I watch every year. This season was so good and so impactful. I loved it so much, and I'm not going to tell you why, because if you haven't seen it, it's a huge spoiler on why it was so impactful. But it was just very different than the other seasons in a very important way. That's all I'm going to say. Number 1 is easily number 1, but 3 and 2 were hard to rate, so I might jumble these up. For today, I'm going with number 3 is Marvel's Jessica Jones. This is another Netflix original TV show. Jessica Jones is a superhero, and I just loved the storytelling on this. It is so impeccable. Done. Jessica Jones is a wonderful female character. She is kick butt. She is unreliable and she's not perfect, and I love that about her, and it's just so great. The villain is incredible and everything is just well executed, well written, well shot, well acted. It's just wonderful. Coming in at number 2 is Stranger Things. This is probably something you've already heard about, but again, a Netflix original show that is a horror sci-fi set in the 80s, and it is so full of nostalgia and it's just so great. Has some wonderful sci-fi and horror tropes just kind of utilized and also twisted on their heads. It's so wonderful. The acting is really great, especially from the children actors. They like blow my mind. They're so good. And it's the kind of show that just really sucks you in and keeps you engaged and keeps you wanting to watch more and more and more. I really didn't think I'd like it, to be honest, and then I watched the first episode and was like, oh my gosh, this is just my kind of thing. How did I not realize I would love this so much? Like I said, not sure where to put Jessica Jones and Stranger Things. Like, I go back and forth. I think Stranger Things is something I enjoyed more and I'm more excited to see season 2 of, but I think Jessica Jones is just so much better and well crafted and just smarter, and I appreciate it so much more. So that's kind of where that, like, I don't know where to put them comes into play. But coming in at number 1, my favorite TV show I watched this year is Mr. Robot. And this show, so good, is about cyber hackers and so much more, but I don't want to get into the more because it's spoilery. Oh, I can't even describe how perfect this story is. It's so interesting, so impactful, so silly, like over the top. It is the kind of show that just like leaves my head spinning at the end of every episode, leaves me guessing, wanting more. The acting is like seriously some of the best TV acting I've seen since Orphan Black. It's so good, and easily my favorite TV show I watched this year. So let's move on to the last section. This last section is my favorite movies of the year. I have 6 I want to talk about today. The 6th one being Sing Street. This is a movie about a group of young boys. Our protagonist is in a not so well off family and his parents are going through marital turf and he is just feeling very alone. He has to be transferred from the school he's currently in to another school because it is cheaper, and this is set in Dublin, so it also deals a lot with these kids and even adults trying to leave and having these desires to immigrate to London. And it follows our main character who finds a deep passion for the new music that's coming out, a lot of alternative, wonderful, beautiful, magical music. And he forms a band with a bunch of seemingly misfits, and it's just so wonderful. I love it so much. I just watched it, but it's just so funny, so fabulous, so cute. Coming in at number 5 is The Witch. This is a horror about witches, but not those kind of witches you think of. They're not the Harry Potters. They're not casting spells. They're super creepy. Don't know how best to describe this, but if you don't like horror, don't watch it. It's not scary, but it's tense and suspenseful. It's like basically every traditional witch folklore you think of is incorporated in this, and it's just very well thought out, and I really enjoyed it. Coming in at number 4 is Rogue One. I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan, but I'm not like a person who grew up with Star Wars. I watched Star Wars in high school, so it's not like it has this huge nostalgic feel to me. A lot of you are gonna get mad at me for saying this, but Rogue One was my favorite Star Wars film. I just really like the character development. You guys know I'm huge on characters and character development and character-based stories, and this was that. It also dealt with the war and the ramifications of war in the Star Wars world, which is something we don't get in Star Wars movies because we're more focused on the sci-fi and the development of plot, which is totally fair. It makes a complete sense. You honestly could not have this movie done this well without all of the movies before that have built up the world so well. I just love it so much because of the characters and the progression and the way it kind of connects things. Coming in at number 3 is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This is, of course, the first in the Fantastic Beasts series, the spin-off of Harry Potter, and it is just marvelous. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I have a 17-minute long video about it, but if you're interested in my thoughts on Fantastic Beasts, the link is in the eye. Next up, coming in at number 2, I have Zootopia, which is an animated film that is just so much more than I expected. I thought it'd be cute, I thought it'd be okay, but I did not expect it to be such an important piece of art. This is a children's movie that is animated and talks a lot about racial profiling and racism, and I thought it was so incredibly well done. I did not expect to fall head over heels in love with this movie. And coming in at number 1 is La La Land. This is a modern movie musical, meaning it is not an adaptation from a stage musical. This was made for the movies. Plays homage to a lot of movie musicals and also tells its own story. It is so beautifully shot. The story is great. The music is fun. The acting is great. The choreography is by my favorite choreographer of all time, Mandy Moore. And it is just so well done. What I love so much about it, besides all of the things, is how beautifully it's shot and how those shots kind of tie into the entire story storytelling narrative and the themes. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you should give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below and let me know what some of your favorite pieces of media from this year were. I'll see you in my next video.